Welcome to this week's Foundation Friday. I am joined today by Shawn Smith, President, CEO, and founder of Dedicated. Thanks for joining me, Shawn.
Thanks, Jesse, for having me.
No, absolutely, man, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, I forget, man. It's already 2022, man. That's exciting. Back in the saddle and ready to go.
No, and then thank you. We're kicking off. EFC is kicking off this year with you. So thank you for joining me on this week's Foundation Friday. This is a little unique situation because typically we showcase one charity or foundation. However, for those of you who might not know Shawn, and we're going to get into kind of his missions here, you can see, not good at this here, behind me here, that we have several charities and foundations that Shawn and his team at Dedicated are a part of. So Shawn, I'm just going to give you a few minutes here just to kind of talk about your philosophy. If you want to focus specifically on these or kind of do a little snippet of each one, but go right ahead, man.
I appreciate it. I'm honored to kick off the new year. And, it's a subject that I'm super passionate about. I think a lot of people that are tuning into this have created a level of success in their career, whether they're in sales or in the C-suite or whatever that is throughout the finance space and probably even now going on beyond that, right? And I think this is a concept that's growing in the world, is using business as a platform to really change the world for the better. But I think people have a lot of questions on how they do that. And like we were talking about off camera, it's really kind of usually an evolution. And what I really want to advocate for people to do is to consider finding a way to start somewhere, even if it's really small, and just watch what the reaction is from using business to give back to help other people does in several areas. First, what it does inside you as the person helping getting that going. Right? Whether maybe you plan an outing where you go and serve as a team, or you do a fundraiser for a family at Christmas, or whatever that is, right? What does it do in you? What does it do in the team, in the company, and the people you surround yourself with? And ultimately, for the people that you're serving, that you're giving to, what is their reaction? And I think what you'll find out that once you start and you get going with this concept and leveraging business to give back, it drives a totally different level of peace and contentment in your spirit. It drives a different form of joy than maybe that big commission pop or that new signed client does. And it also has some really cool business drivers as far as the team morale and the culture that you have, and noticing how excited they were about that, or the way your clients react or the market reacts. So I like to say there's kind of the soul-filling good side of using business to help other people, but there's also the business case for it, and where it ends up driving more business. So it's not, I don't think it's one or the other. I think it's both. And look, we started with wanting to give back, not really knowing how to do that. And so we said, well, look, we were, 7 years ago, we were a startup. And so we were like, well, we don't have money to give, we'll give of our time. And so we started doing that. And the whole team showed up and we started growing really fast. And then we said, okay, well, look, we can't give a lot financially, but let's start somewhere. So every deal that we got done and collected or serviced or whatever we did, we donated one meal, which at the time was 22 cents. And I'll never forget, like after maybe the first or second month, we had fed 296 kids. The post comes up every year on Facebook, but I remember internally, we were like, we fed almost 300 kids. And I remember getting DMs and messages. It was our most viral post that entire year on social media. I remember going to conferences and people saying, I love what you're doing. You're feeding kids. And it was like light bulb moment. Not only did it feel great for what we were doing in business and in my role as a CEO and being able to positively effectuate that, but the market and the clients and that also responded. And so it was kind of this, well, giving more equaled also getting more. You just have to put the giving first. And then in turn, when you get more, find more ways to give it. And so that's where we started with one nonprofit partner with Feed My Starving Children in the background. We've now donated over 1 million meals. We've donated, I think, over 300,000 or 400,000 meals just in the last year. And that's such a big number. But as someone who goes down into Haiti and absolutely loves the country and the people of Haiti, and they're obviously going through a rough go of it right now, preparing that food in the slums, providing it, eating with the children, realizing that's their only meal that day, that does something in your soul to know that it's not 300,000 childs. That's the one child that I've served down there directly. And that's where, again, it's that evolution, right? Start somewhere, get involved, and it's really grown from there. So that's kind of the basis and the kind of genesis. It wasn't this big, I came into business and I knew I wanted to give back. Kind of, you start business, when you make it, you're gonna give back to your community. And I think everybody who tries to, wants to do that, right? But someone challenged me. He said, Shawn, I think there's two types of people, and I'm not judging either one of them, but there's people who feel led to give along the way and people who feel led to give once they make it. He said, I'm not judging either one, and neither am I, but you have to decide which one you are, and then lead and give from wherever you're at, whether you're at an entry level position or you're the owner and in the C-suite, right? And that's what we did. We started small, and it is just snowballed both in giving, but in growth of the company, right? So it's really I think it's a new philosophy in business that it has a fast growing trend. And I think really when you put two businesses up against one another and one's giving back and really doing a lot of good in the world, and the other one's just talking about how great their bells and whistles are, 9 times out of 10, people are going to go with the company that is giving back and doing a great job by helping other people and doing their service or their product well. And so it's really both.
Yeah, and to your point there, I know the younger generation coming up, they would almost take lesser financial compensation if they're working for an organization that is actually doing a better part.
Yeah, I mean, back. Think about over the last 2 years how much mental health has been such a struggle, right? And in working with Laverne and how much domestic violence has gone up, and just man, how challenging our world is right now, and just this lack of purpose, this lack of fulfillment, this lack of inner peace in what you're doing. And for me, at least, being able to positively help someone else and seeing what it does in them, the fulfillment I've gotten from that. I mean, having worked and I think now dedicated over 400 child slaves we've helped down in Haiti through Restavec Freedom.
Yeah.
That blows away anything I've ever done in business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that blows away any paycheck, bonus, profit, you name it. Like 400 kids who were a child slave are now in school, getting fed, getting taken care of, and having a positive outlook in life. Like, please. And that's what that's now spread into the team. That's actually one of the cool things. I got an update from Restavec Freedom has actually started an advocate program where you can actually sponsor, like we sponsor 2 advocate salaries. So where they pay their salaries and they go and there's an estimated over 300,000 child slaves just in and around Port-au-Prince in Haiti. Unfortunately, slavery is still basically legal in Haiti. And IBEARS, the child protection service there, isn't exactly, it's Haiti, right? It's, it's not America, and we're not even cutting the mustard here, right? So, but you can actually sponsor that advocate and then track like the number of kids they're helping, and they're getting out of these situations, they're getting in school, they're getting them fed, they're getting them out of abuse, things like that, right? Well, now they started a whole advocate program. So if someone listening to this is like, wow, I could be a part in modern day society now, freeing and helping child slaves, like literally, that's mind blowing, right? Like, and then to attach that to business so that people know when they do legal work with Dedicated, that's the give back, that's what we're supporting. I mean, it's an incredible thing. And if we can do it with the style business that we have, a funding company, a broker, IT company, you name it, they could do that, and they could have massive impact by attaching what they're doing in business to that give back and letting the people know that work for them and do business with them or possibly could do business with them, that that's what they're doing with their business and platform, right? It's incredible.
No, that's great. And one thing that we'll do at the end of this here is I'm going to create a separate slide. We'll have the websites for all the organizations behind me, where people can go online if they want to look into all or any of them. But do you mind just kind of walking through? I know we talked about Feed My Starving Children and Rest of Ec Freedom. Do you mind just kind of walking through the other one, Shawn, that I have behind me here?
Yeah, so that's probably maybe like a third or a fourth of the ones we work with. But this would have been a lot longer vlog if we went through everything. So I think the hope, my hope of this and talking with you is that people would hear this and say, I can't do all that. I can't talk the owners into doing that change, or my business isn't financially set up to do that, but I could do one of those things, right? So I hope this is a value add where people hear this and like, I can't do all that, but I could start here and see what happens, right? So, just to go through some of these and how we work with them is, so with Feed My Starving Children, every time someone sends over an account, every time a client sends an account, we donate 10 meals, and that's at 24 cents a meal, right? And then every time we collect on one, we donate another 10 meals. And then every day that anyone in Dedicated works, we donate 10 more meals. And again, 24 cents a meal, it's not a massive amount of money, but when you're getting thousands of accounts every month and that's really piling up, it starts adding up, and it's built into our pricing. You know what I mean? Dedicated is, not one to be at the race to the bottom, and we're okay with that. And then, like you said earlier, I think a lot of people that either work for somewhere or do business with someone, when they know it's purpose driven, price is a factor, but it's not always the factor. And it also brings the right clientele and the right team members to our team because they care about the mission. They want to partner with companies that have a mission like we do, right? So there's all ancillary benefits, even though the focus is on feeding kids. There's a more positive culture, there's positive client relationships, there's brand loyalty, there's all these other ancillary benefits. So that's how we work with Rest of Ec Freedom. Going into the legal side, we try, every metric is different. You got to kind of let these things organically kind of come to you or someone on the team. So with the legal side, when people are sending over accounts for us to do nationwide legal, we're supporting a base salary of an advocate in Haiti with Rest of Ec Freedom at $500 a month. So right now we cover two, so that's $1,000 a month. Started with one. We actually started with half of one. So we started 3 years ago with 250, right, to dip our toes in. And then again, super positive response. And to my kind of calling out to especially people on our team of color is like, it's mind blowing that there is literally slavery still going on an hour flight from Miami. I mean, it's mind blowing, and we can actually help with an organization that's doing an amazing job down there. So that's how we do that. And so as the legal program grows, we're just going to keep adding advocates. And the goal is in our lifetime, in partnering with Rest of Ec Freedom, is to end slavery in Haiti in our lifetime. And that, you have the people that have the know-how, they have the ability to do it. They just need the resources, right? Our first party portfolio servicing side, we support Thorn, which is also in the background. So that is basically, there is a massive issue with trafficking children online through both things like, places where you normally go to buy things, but it's actually in code for children, as well as just child pornography and sex trafficking. Minnesota is the number 5 state in the nation with the Mall of America's proximity right next to the airport, where children are being trafficked right here in my backyard. It's, again, mind-blowing to me. I mean, we live in one of the greatest states as far as how well we're doing as a state for whatever, statistics they put out there. And yet that's a huge blemish on our state for, being the #5 state in the nation for that, right? So we partner with Thorn, and they're using technology to go at the people who are already using it to traffic children and to furnish pornography out there. And again, man, just helping one child out of that situation is incredible. Our repossession and remarketing side, we started out with, every time we did a repo, I think we donated like, oh God, I want to say it was like $50 or $100 is where we started. And then we grew it from there, right? And so every time you do a repo or we remarket a piece of equipment, we're donating to Gold Star Mothers, which was really started in a way to help families who lost someone in combat and veterans who are coming back from these foreign affairs and dealing with just immense challenges, right? And so, and that really stemmed from, and here's another, I would say, evolution of how we learn this, is that I started realizing there was people on my team that also had passions about things. So then it was like, okay, how can we tie what they do for their job to giving back to something they're hyper passionate about? So Joe Costello, who heads up our equipment finance side of things with the repo and the remarketing, lost one of his best friends in Afghanistan. And his mother really became really involved with American Gold Star Mothers. It was life-saving for her. And that always stuck with him. He said, he came to me and he said, is there any way we could give back to them? I said, yeah, let's tie the area of business in which you're over back to giving back to that. And I think last year we were able to donate somewhere between $6,000 and $10,000 towards that. I mean, wow. Incredible, right? So it's not just about a passion project for me. So first one is start small, get going somewhere. Second one is bring other people in. What are they passionate about? How can you support what they're doing and tie it to a business metric? So the better and the more they do of what they're doing, the more it gives back to something they're hyper passionate about. Our sales side with Create Minneapolis, we sponsor a team of children at Hope Academy in downtown Minneapolis. To have a program where they can get really involved with STEM, robotics, things like that. And again, that started out with, for every new client that we sign, we give back. And so Mike Mrozak, who heads up our business development and partnership side, he's on the board of Create Minneapolis. So he knows, hey, every time I do my job, I'm not just helping myself and helping the company succeed. I'm helping a nonprofit that I'm on the board that I'm really passionate about. And so that's how this has grown. So every aspect of our business is tied to a give back because of those of the whole package. It's not just it's this great branding thing. We're very much, we'll be the first certified B corporation in the world with what we do, because it's not just small, media stunt giving. Now, I'm not judging anyone, right? But like, this is intertwined through everything we do, but that's a 7-year evolution, right? So you just start somewhere and watch what it does. And quite frankly, I believe what you put in the ground is what grows. I'm watching it with equipment finance cares. I'm watching how fast that's grows. I'm watching these events where people are showing up and it's getting bigger and bigger and more sponsors and more people interested, because what you're putting in the ground is good. And that's then what's going to grow. We don't get to pick how long it takes till you see that harvest, but we know if we put it in the ground, that's what's going to grow. And that's why I love being a sponsor and a part of what you're doing there, because it's just multiplication. Now it's just not me out there at every conference and on the interwebs, ringing my bell about, hey, this is a solid concept. To see it operating somewhere else, to see it helping a lot of people and succeeding at a fast rate, still takes a lot of hard work. I know you're working your butt off, but I can promise you, the person on the other side of Laverne Gordon, who the only reason they came to get help is because of the inspiration, because they read her book. I #1 speaker. I bring speakers in. I try every month to bring a speaker in at our company-wide scrum. #1 speaker ever that's been talked about at Dedicated was Laverne. I had women just absolutely wrecked, but in a good way. We gave everyone, her book. That one of those people's lives being changed in a positive direction because you decided and your wife decided to work with Laverne and do everything you've done. again, just comes back to like, how amazing is that? And how can we do more of that? And how can we show that it isn't just the feel good side of it? There's that, and that's good. But there's also the business case side of it. It's really both. And I think sometimes when you get all to just business side and the giving is just kind of gimmicky or, lacking in sincerity, it doesn't, growth doesn't equal impact there. But also when you get you see like coffee shops or things like this, where they're all about like the give back and whatever, but they don't really have a solid business plan for growth. Well, growth equals more impact, right? So I think they go hand in hand. And I think that case can be made to any board, any business, any team, that these things go hand in hand, and they have far greater drivers than just a good culture, which they definitely do. They have financial drivers, retention drivers, it's so much more, right? So, it's been this evolution, but again, just starting somewhere and bringing the people in from your team to that has been really powerful for us.
No, and I appreciate you and dedicated support, as being a diamond sponsor of EFC events. That allows us to help put these on, because we go in, it's not a calling around scrapping for dollars to try to get, at least we have a base now. So appreciate your support of that one too, Shawn. So thank you very much, man.
Happy to be
but yeah, I mean, you hit on a point earlier. I think I've been on the business development side my 17 years in equipment finance, and it's like, what drives a salesperson? Typically what motivates you is compensation. I would say in visiting some of these charities or foundations in the last year, or seeing an impact. I mean, I know you guys donate money to the Tam-Key project, but when I saw that thing last week where you see your logo behind 100 kids that got coats because of the money you were able to raise. Mm-hmm. I mean, that goes above a commission check any day. I'll take that all day, every day, and it makes you want to work harder to make it 200 next year.
Dude, I mean, that I was so excited to see that post. It's just so cool. I mean, it's so cool what we can do, and to see that concept grabbing on. And you're right. Like, again, I think the people tuning into this have reached a certain amount of success. They're probably already in some way giving back, especially if they're tuning into this. But my challenge would be, God, you can do so much more. And when you do that, when you have an instance like that, to you, it was just a jacket, but to that kid, oh my God, you ever come down to Haiti with me and you just hold a child in the slum? I mean, the Pope might as well be holding them, because you're from the richest country, and, and you have mothers begging you to take their child because they don't know if they'll live if you don't take, and of course you can't, you know what I mean? And it rips your soul out. But to know, you walk that mother room like, hey, get connected over here, get food over here, we'll help you. And then to stay in contact with them, and to be in that situation where, to that kid with a jacket, I mean, like, I can only imagine how they're walking with that. And, that supplies, right? It's the whole world to them. To us, it's a jacket. And to know that that's because of your hard work and because of the support of the people around you, whether it be your spouse, your friends, your family, the industry, your industry friends that are stepping up and helping you with that, what that does for you internally and what it does in business is tenfold over, that biggest commission check you got in sales, whatever year ago. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that was cool in that moment. You're like, hey, I closed the big deal, and then it wears off. Right? Because I think that bucket has a big hole in it. And the only way to keep it filled is to keep putting travel and comfort and big sales and whatever in it, and it just goes right out the bottom. But I think that joy and fulfillment side, if you can merge that in with business, it has a lot smaller hole. Unfortunately, we live in a pretty negative world, so there's always kind of a drain on it. But right, it's just way more fulfilling. It's my contentment is tenfold what it ever has been in my life, knowing that I've been able to do that. And it just drives me, how can we do more? But I think you have to start, you know what I mean? You started, and I watched you start, you started doing some of it. And then I know we were talking about this off camera, but it's been cool to just watch that and watch what it does in you and watch the impact that you're having. I mean, I'm sitting over here like the biggest cheerleader, like, yes, someone else gets it like this. You can use business to have massive impact. And I think you're only getting started. And I feel I'm only getting started, so What happens when all of a sudden we're feeding tens of millions of kids? What happens when we're eradicating starvation in entire villages and then entire certain parts of countries, or or whatever it is? Like the sky's the limit. And what I find is, doesn't matter what people's religious background is, doesn't matter what their financial background is, people love to be a part of helping other people. And that brings everybody together, right? Everybody can get together around that. And that's why I'm so excited to be, just supporting not just Equipment Finance Cares, but what it's supporting, right? And things like Beyond Blindness. It was so cool to be a sponsor for that. I just love the work that they're doing, to Laverne and so on and so forth. Like, to be a part of that and to know what's on the back end of that and how much those people are affected by that, and to be a part of it, like, please, like, how can we figure out how to do more? Like, let's go. So very, very exciting. And, I really appreciate being able to get on here and talk. It's such a passion for me, because it's done, quite frankly, so much for me, my family, my kids, my team. I don't think until you start and you start seeing what it produces in you, when it's regular, when it's sacrificial, when it's focused on, I say, like, there's successful people are not always really significant, but significant people are always successful, and they're successful in the areas that, quite frankly, matter. And that's why we're chasing significance, and whatever success comes is the byproduct of how can we be significant to these nonprofits and the people they're serving. And that's what I found to be my calling, is using business as a platform to give back to help other people.
No, and you're definitely doing that. And like I said, I appreciate all of your support for me, EFC, all that you do for all the, at your office, I forgot what those things called, where it's like the logos behind when you walk in your office and you see all the different charities and everything. You don't really realize it, where you're like, wow, I didn't realize there were this many that you guys were, that you guys make an impact to on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So thank you again, Shawn, for joining me. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to Shawn. Like I said, I'm going to have a separate slide at the end of this. We'll have all the websites for this. You can contact me and I can send you to Shawn, or contact Shawn directly. But thank you again, Shawn, for your time today, man.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse, for having me on. And for those that hung out to the end, I'll put a little spoiler out there for people. But two quick things is, one, I would love it if people would check out Love, Give, Repeat. That behind you, that's actually what I would call a for-profit charity, but check it out on social media. It's really just taking this concept and turning it up to 11 and giving back and showing the responses of the people you're giving to, so that to help inspire people to do more of that. But it's been truly a passion project. And for those again who have hung out to the end, Dedicated is changing its name to Dedicated Financial GBC. We heard it first here, but we're now a general benefits corporation, and we're honing in on being very close to B Corp certification. So, we're turning this up to 11 as far as giving back with our business, and not just externally, but even to our team and benefits and things like that. So I'm happy to be a resource for anyone who's interested, whether it be serving your team, your local, the global community, how to market that, how to, heck, if you're looking for support, if you have a nonprofit you're partnered with. I'm actually going to be down in Dallas next week for the NEFA board meeting, but I'm going to be meeting up with Ismael Santiago, who's a broker down there, he's works with Bonton Farms, which is the largest urban farm in the United States, and what there's like these food deserts or whatever. And so if anybody has any questions, I just super passionate about giving back and serving anyone out there that hears this on how they can do that. I know at the Equipment Finance Cares, I got messages after that on how we give back to mental health and pay for people's co-pays for that and promote that, just stuff like that. If anybody has any questions, I'm an open book, and I will make sure my calendar is clear to serve anyone that hears this on concepts or things and how we instituted all these and the benefits and the what has come of it. So thank you for letting me get this out there. It's a it's an honor to be on the show and just to have the opportunity and platform to talk about something that at my core is something I'm super passionate about. So thank you, Jesse, and thank everybody for tuning in and just for the support for both of us. I mean, it's been truly beyond belief for the support that I've seen for both organizations and just us as people in the industry for what we're trying to do. And our goal is just figure out how we can do more of it. How can we help more people? So thank you for that opportunity. I appreciate it.
Not a problem, Shawn. Thank you, sir. And I look forward to seeing you next month at a NEFA event. Go figure. So
yeah,
have a
and
good
stay
one.
tuned for the Tuesday night event we're going to do to raise some money for another charity. So if you're in the LA Newport Beach area, look for details in the next couple of weeks coming out on social media for both of us, where we're going to do a fun, relaxed event to raise money for charity locally there. Awesome. Excited to announce that once we get the details locked down. So looking forward to seeing you in somewhere warmer than Minnesota, because it's like below zero behind that glass. So I'll take Dallas or California any day over that. So thank you, bud. Have a good day. Thank you, everybody.
All right, take care. Thank you.